In this video we are going to take a look at how you can build a step sequencer in Live using only Clips and Ableton's MIDI devices. We start out with a MIDI effect rack, which is the container for the simple sequencer we are going to build. We are making a 4-step sequencer to begin with. For that we will need 4 chains in the MIDI effect rack. Give each chain a name so you know which step they control. The sequencer will operate as following. A note gets sent from a MIDI clip to the MIDI effect rack. Each chain or step is assigned to a different value on the chain selector. For every note there is a chain selector automation in the clip that decides which chain will receive the note. Our 4 steps will have their chain selector zones respectively on chain 0, 1, 2 and 3. Because we are using clips to automate the chain selector, we can make up our own rhythms. You could even use the automation as a dummy clip and feed the notes in with an arpeggiator. For this example I will show a simple sequence. 1 step triggered every 1/4. Draw these 4 notes in a 1-bar clip and go to the chain select ruler automation view. As you can see in the MIDI effect rack, the notes from the clip are currently only being passed out of the first chain. For our automation, we want the first note to be sent out on chain 0, the second note on chain 1, the third note on chain 2, and the fourth note on chain 3. As you can see now in the MIDI effect rack, each note is being fed to a different step. I used the note of C3 so you could hear the notes, but let's move them down to C-2. Then we know our notes are at the MIDI pitch of 0. That makes it easier to dial in specific notes with the MIDI pitch plugin. Let's put a pitch plugin on the first step. If we set it to plus 60 semitones, we have our note of C3 back. Copy that pitch plugin to the other chains and you will have just built a very simple step sequencer. You could also add other MIDI plugins like chord or velocity to shape the output of individual steps. Like I said before, you can make your own rhythms. I want this to go a little faster, so I create a new pattern of 1/4 of a bar with the note hitting every 16th. And just like with our previous pattern, we will have to draw in the automation for the individual notes. Why stop at this? Let's double the length of the pattern and make the step progression go up and down. Be sure to check out the videos about the covered sequencer on YouTube or Vimeo. One of the video details how you can create cool patterns using follow actions and by consolidating clips. This doesn't have to be just a step sequencer. You can use this setup to experiment with different types of sequences, grooves and rhythms. Add a note length plugin or even an arpeggiator to come up with new patterns. The result can always be captured as a clip in a different MIDI track. Nobody is really stopping you from making this thing bigger. I will add a fifth step now to show how easy it is. You just have to create a new chain in the MIDI effect rack, set up the chain selector zone and give it automation in a clip. With one MIDI effect rack you can build a 128 step sequencer. If you want more steps, you could put this MIDI effect rack inside another MIDI effect rack and use its chain selector to multiply your possibilities. Two MIDI effect racks can provide up to 16,384 steps. That should definitely keep you busy for a while. While this may seem as just randomly messing about, there are some unique advantages to messing about like this. For example, you can alter your sequence by muting steps, or you could save the current device as a preset with all its settings intact. Once you have a few presets, you can use the hot swap function in Live to switch those presets.